What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Meathead Podcast. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, Big Mike Cox, going by Ken Jones. In the live chat, who among you remembers Ken Jones? I really want to know. And our special guest, John Livia. John has the Silliness and Seriousness. Oh my God!
Holy shit, Ron!
Seriousness and Silliness podcast.
You need to go one of those. You need to go to one of those Leering centers in Minnesota.
I actually started the last few episodes saying we're going to be talking about Somali daycares today, and I have not kept. It really hasn't. I haven't done that like I probably should. We'll get into that later. The Somali daycare. We're not.
Yeah, it's serious and silliness bodybuilding. Yeah,
silliness. So really good stuff there. Lee Priest is on there all the time. I was hoping he would make it, but he's on his way to the U.S.
Nice.
Yeah, he's got something. He's got the L.A. Expo, some
Fit
fitness
Expo, right?
Expo, some
Fit
shit.
Expo,
Yeah.
He still had the Fit Expo, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be filming with. I think he's doing a workout with Larry Wheels.
Oh shit!
And then I think he's meeting Larry Wheels. And I think the Trend Twins. He's going to be training with.
Content, man. It's all about the content these days, Ron.
Yeah.
Have you ever met the Trend Twins, John?
No, he was. They were supposed to come on. They stood me up, which is I kind of wasn't holding my breath because they're so huge that it's like I figured, Lee reached out to them a couple of times, but they're huge and they're young kids, so it's like they're obviously gonna fucking skip it. They seem to have a lot better things to do, like chasing girls and beating the shit out of each other and crashing Dodge Chargers and stuff like that. So
nice. No, someone suggested. They said, "Why don't you try to get Sam Sulek on?" I said, "You know what? I think I would have an easier time getting an interview with Donald Trump than I would Sam Sulek."
Yeah, JFK would be easier than Sam Sulek.
Yeah, good luck. The JFK that died in 1963.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Cool. So I went with a pretty generic topic this week, and if other topics come up, we can certainly speak about them. But I want to start by going to you, John. You're the special guest.
Thank you.
Everyone started lifting and got into bodybuilding in their own unique way. What was it for you?
The girls.
Okay. Elaborate.
That was it. Like I was in high school. I was I'm sorry. I was in junior high school. I was chubby. I had two older brothers who like were a lot older than me, so they were bigger and stronger. And I started noticing girls, and I started spending a lot of time in the bathroom by myself. And then I was like, all right, I gotta start working out. So I was like, I think I was 14, and my brothers, they bought me like a push-up bar and a pull-up bar. And then when I was 15, my oldest brother bought me my first Weeder set for the basement. And then I had a friend, because I grew up in New York, so I had a friend that worked at Ferrigno's gym after school. And he used to sneak me in because I didn't have any fucking money to join a gym. And because Ferrigno had two gyms, one in Brooklyn and one in Staten Island, and they both went out of business. And he used to sneak me in. And then he put in the computer that I was a full member, so I never had to join. So, but then he went out of business. So that was my first gym, Ferrigno's gym in Staten Island. And then it just took off from there. I was like, then I was going to Gold's in Staten Island, which is really funny because they were talking about Gold's in the 90s, which was silently owned by the mafia in Staten Island, right? And I swear to God, all true. I swear to God. And all the guys that wanted to compete were going there. So there was this girl that spotted me that competed. She was an amateur bodybuilder. Her name was Cassie Hornbuckle. And yeah, she was huge. She was like 5'10", 200 pounds. Back then all they had was fitness and bodybuilding, and she was a bodybuilder. And she said to me, you should compete. We got to be friends. You should compete. And I was like, I can't compete. I'm too small. These guys are too big. And she made the reference between Sean Ray and Dorian, and she's like, Sean Ray always held his own against Dorian. Sean Ray's not a really big bodybuilder. And then I did the Mr. Staten Island show. And never got past an NPC level because I wasn't that good. But fell in love with bodybuilding.
What happened with the girls? I'm curious. Did it actually help with the girls or not?
In the short run, it did. You know, like if I could take my young self and say, you know, it's good to work out, but really, if you really want to get a lot of girls, you need to work on making money.
Mm.
That's what I would have told myself. So in the short run, in high school, and then in high school, it worked. Once I got out of high school and I started going to a community school, that's when, like, you got to understand, like, where I grew up too. So I grew up in Brooklyn, and we moved to Staten Island, and every place we went to back then, it was all the places were run by gangsters and so all those guys would get all the girls.
Mm.
You know, all the wannabe tough guys and the tough guys, all those guys would get. If you went out in Brooklyn or in Staten Island back then, it was all. So it was like I was good with girls that were like maybe a 5 or 6 on 1 to 10. Once I got past that, I wasn't good with them.
Yeah, listen, sometimes, you know, after a night of like at the club,
now that I'm married and I got some money and I'm like, you know, over 40 and I look good now, it's like, you know, girls back then that wouldn't look at me, you know, hit me up on Instagram and I'm like, you are a mess now. You're a disaster. Like too bad.
She's a mess.
Yeah.
You probably know this phrase, so I don't claim to have invented it. If you didn't want me in your prime, I don't want you in your decline.
Yeah, I swear to God, I'm not kidding. It's unbelievable. But yeah, in the short time, it really like, if you know, then I became like, I think then I just became obsessed with bodybuilding.
Yeah.
You know, and then I did a bunch of shows, and then it was basically, all right, I got to find a way to make a living. Bodybuilding I wasn't going to make a living through bodybuilding. And then as soon as I just went right back to bodybuilding when I was like, after I got married, and right before I got married and whatnot. And then I realized that I wasn't going to be able to turn pro. I just didn't have what it took. It is what it is. You got to look in the mirror and be real with yourself. I didn't have what it took to turn pro, and there was no even classic physique. I might have been able to turn pro in classic physique, but as a bodybuilder, there was no. And I remember going to, like, I would win all the NPC shows, right? Like, I won Mr. Staten Island, I won the Brooklyn Grand Prix, I won the Tri-State, I won the Muscle Beach. And then I'm like, all right, well, I want to do a national level show. And I remember I went to go talk to Oscar Arden. He was going to train me for a national level show, right? Because he was local, right? So I go to talk to Oscar Arden, and then I go to I used to be an expediter backstage for the NPC, and I remember I worked the Team Universe.
Yeah.
And that was the one that John Meadows won to turn pro.
Oh wow.
And I remember I came home and I was like, I was talking to my would have been my wife. We were living together.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm never gonna look like that. And there's no way in hell it's impossible. I don't care what I do. And I'm like, what? So now I'm like, what am I going to do? Go to the nationals and go get my ass handed to me and spend all this money and time. And I was just like, it's just not happening. So that's the short and long of it.
I think that was 2014 that Meadows won it.
Yeah.
I want to say, because I did it
exactly
in 2011 and 2013, and I went back to watch it, and he just dominated. He was awesome.
Dense. Like,
yeah, it was insane. I remember seeing him up close because I was I used to go to Guy Del Corso's gym. He passed away last year, and they called it Guy's Gym. So Guy was really good friends with Steve and Maz. So anytime the shows were in New York or New Jersey, Steve would get guys that from Guy's Gym and Maz's gym, and we would work the count, work the front, work the back, whatever, at all the shows.
Yeah.
And I used to, half the time I didn't even get paid to do it. I just like doing it, you know? Yeah. I remember like I remember one time Maz gave me $100. I was like, whoa, wow. I was there all day and night. I was like, holy shit.
All right, let's go to Cleveland, Ohio, probably in the late 80s or early 90s for the beginning of Big Mike Cox's journey.
Ron, you got to go back to this was 7th grade. So we're talking 80, late 86-ish, right? Like I turned 13 late. So I was like around 12. So we had to do a science fair project for 7th grade, right? So like all kids, we plagiarized from the encyclopedia, no Google. We copied, changed a word here or there.
Yep.
Then a friend of mine, his dad had some old Muscle and Fitness. So we're going to cut off some pictures, right, from the Muscle and Fitness. Ron, something happened when I got that magazine. It had the 85 Mr. Olympia in it. And it also had a Rich Gaspari leg workout in it. I opened to that Olympia coverage, and there's Haney, Gaspari, John Brown, Sergio, Wilf Sylvester, just, guys that most people don't know, and something clicked. And back then, dude, it was just, I played sports, football, basketball, baseball. So we're always trying to be like, who could do the most push-ups. We always wanted to be jacked, like our He-Man, right? Remember, He-Man was really big and jacked.
Yeah.
We always had those images around us, Ron. I think subconsciously we wanted to do that. And then I got a weight set. I think it was right around 8th grade. And I remember going into that 8th grade summer or high school summer, I played summer baseball. Then it was football my freshman year. But by then, though, dude, I had already had a Muscle and Fitness subscription, had a Flex subscription. I did chores and would go to CVS. It was called Revco back then. I would get Muscle Mag, Iron Man, and Women's Physique World back then, right? And this is like 87, 88, Ron. So, I'm following the sport. And then the first show I was ever aware of was the 87 Night of Champions. I remember the day after that show, I called Wayne DeMiglia's office for the results. He said, Gary Stridham, Mike Ashley, I think Ron Love or Robbie was third or fourth.
Yeah.
I can't remember shit. Manny says, you don't remember jack shit but bodybuilding. But it clicked, man. But the main thing, Ron, was, I think you had something to do with it, was an American Muscle right around 87, right? Mm. I got that Flex, and Sean Ray was on the cover. And I was like, that's it. That's what I want to look like. But I didn't want to compete yet, right? So I still played sports in high school. But right around after freshman basketball, right, 88, I got that Mr. Olympia tape, bro, the 88 Olympia tape. And I watched that tape, Ron. I had, like you probably did, we had every posing routine on that tape memorized. When I hear you two, I think of Barry DeMay. When I hear Tracy Chapman, I think of Bob Paris. Sean Ray, Dream Girls, Phil Hill, Phantom of the Opera. Just shit that we grasped onto as kids, as teenagers, right? We fell in love with the sport. And it was like falling in love, that first girlfriend we had, that feeling you got, right? And I'll never forget, when I came home from school, I told my dad, I'm not playing football no more. I'm not playing sports. I got a Flex in the mail. It had the 1989 Arnold Classic ad in it. I called my mom and said, can we please go to this show? A few months later, Ron, we're at that show. I thought Sean Ray was doing it. He had got suspended that year, if you remember, for injuring his neck. But dude, I remember that show, Ron. Like, I remember the smell of the program. I remember seeing Corey. I remember seeing Nikki Fuller right in front of me, right at that show.
Wow.
But seeing Gaspari and Paris and Stridham, dude, I was hooked. I was done. There was no more sports. My grades really started to suffer. But like months later, like 6 months later, I was on stage, Ron, at that show at Mr. Cleveland, Teen Cleveland, 1989. I took fourth. Opposed to Albie Shore, Killing Me Softly.
Oh, Jesus.
Dude, I ended up like kind of like Phil Hill in my pose routine, but I took fourth. But there's nothing, I think you guys will agree, is the rush of that crowd. When you hear that applause, it's intoxicating. And for me with bodybuilding, man, like I did pretty good. Won some shows, got my ass kicked at the USA. I think I knew deep down that success would have ruined me. I would have been Craig Titus if I would have been successful. Ron, I would have lost my mind. I thank God kind of every day at 52 that my path was crappy, but if I would have had success and fame, dude, I would have been, I don't know if I would have murdered somebody, but it would have been a cautionary tale of like success, because bodybuilding is excess, right? And, in those 90s, Ron, when we started to get a little bit bigger, our ego takes over. We dropped the Blue Dolphins. We have little G. We're in a club with our tight shirts on. Like, it's an intoxicating feeling. But bro, like I said, the love of bodybuilding, man, it's just something that I don't know if these guys have now, because I'm not in trenches, but like just one of the greatest things for me as a bodybuilder, not only with MD, but Peter McGuff knew my name. I got to have a conversation. You went somewhere, I forgot, at a Tampa show. I sat there next to Peter McGuff. I peppered him with stuff about, like, he told me about Flex Wheeler's photo shoots, Paul Dillette, Cormier come to Wheeler's offices, Melvin begging for a contract. It was just to be able to have someone like that you've seen for decades. He saw Sergio Oliva. And I'm talking to this man about Joe Weider. It was just like I said on Facebook. Thank you guys, man, because Ron, it's been a hell of a journey, man. Like and we were at the same shows. You can just it's just weird how the people you be in bodybuilding are almost like family. After 8th grade, after high school, 98% of my friends were from bodybuilding. That it's just meatheads, man. And it's a love, bro. It's a love that like just never goes away. Even beat up in 52. You know what I mean? We love this shit.
I used to get starstruck. I don't get starstruck anymore.
Last week when Sean Ray was on, I still get that kind of like,
really?
Not as much, but like Linda, Lee Haney, the old two guys, right? Like those guys I hold in such, they're like, Lee Haney to me is like Jesus walking on water. Like he was the man when I was coming up to sport. And I saw him guest pose in 1990, 6 weeks from the Olympia. And I don't give a shit what any of these young cats say these days. Ain't nobody touching that man. It was like, remember in Moses when he had the 10 commandments like this?
Yeah.
It was like seeing Moses, right? It was so awestruck, but I still get a little fanboyish sometimes, man, Yeah,
the last time I got starstruck was Branch Warren. Yeah. When I first started my channel, I interviewed Johnny Jackson, and great guy, by the way. Like he's been on several times, fantastic guy. And I messaged him afterwards. I was like, "Yeah, you think you could talk to Branch?" He's like, "Oh yeah, he was at some seminar." He's like, and I was at work, and somebody calls my number. I don't know the number. I pick up, and he's like, "Yeah, this is Branch Warren." And I was like, and I was I guess there was a dead silence because he goes, "Hello, hello." And that was the last time I got starstruck. Now, like literally, like I don't know what it is. Like I met Phil Heath in September. He did a seminar with the Lee Priest and Akeem, and I shook his hand and I asked him to do my podcast, and he said, "I'll think about it." I'm like, this motherfucker, think about it. You son of a bitch.
Think about it.
Like, yeah, well, I know that means no, right? He's being nice. But to his credit, though, I got to give him his due. Like, the guy did not leave. He was the last person to leave that seminar till everybody got an autograph, a handshake, a picture. He did not. Everybody else left. They were setting the gym back up, and he was still talking to people.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, I was still annoyed that he wouldn't do my podcast, but I got to give him his credit. He really didn't move until everybody was satisfied.
Yeah.
Ron, you probably got the best stories of all of us, bro. Like your journey is just like,
he's been in bodybuilding. Like
you wrote a book, dude.
A few books, but so I did start for girls. One girl, it was a particular girl named Nancy. So she was in my church youth group. Yes, church youth group. How dorky is that? But I only did the youth group because she was in it. Because the minute I saw her at church, I was like, oh boy, she was a year older than me.
Aren't you supposed to like suppress those feelings in church?
Well, I only started going to church because I was afraid the devil was going to possess me after I left.
Yeah. I went to church because my mother dragged me there every Sunday.
After I got to know Nancy, I'm only like 13 years old at this time. I was a friend of her brother too, Jerry, and Jerry was like, he tried lifting and he got pretty buff pretty quick, but then he stopped and he became a skateboarder and a punk rock singer. He would try things and stop doing it. Anyway, long story short, on her wall, she had posters of Kerry Von Erich, the wrestler.
Oh, God. Yeah.
And she had one of Arnold. So I was like, okay, these are the guys she's drooling over. I think I need to look like those guys.
Yeah.
So for my 13th, for Christmas when I was 13, this would have been Christmas 1982. Wow. I had asked for a weight set and they got it for me. I started lifting on Christmas morning, 1982. I didn't hit puberty for like a couple more years, so nothing was happening. But it ended up never happening between me and Nancy, unfortunately. But I didn't discover bodybuilding. I knew nothing about bodybuilding the rest of that time, all through high school. But when I got to I went to UCSB, University of California, Santa Barbara for 1 year, freshman year, because I just always wanted to go to California. I figured if I can go to college or what the hell. So I had bought a tub of Weider Mass Gain 10,000 or Shaper Body, some shit product.
Yeah.
But on the side of it, you could tear it off and send away, and they were going to send you a magazine. So my mother was forwarding all my mail to me. I think I was in my second day at the off-campus apartments. I got this Flex magazine. I can't remember. I think it was Kathy Paleo on the cover doing a curl. But inside there was a big photo, a big story, 10-page pictures mostly of Sean Ray, who at that time was a junior national champion. Nationals hadn't happened yet for 87. There was training articles with like Gary Stridham, Lee Labrada, Lee Haney, Rich Gaspari. That's the guy I gravitated towards because we were like the same height. I was from Boston. He was from New Jersey. I think I could look like that guy, in my little delusional head. So, and they had coverage of the World Championships that year, Barry DeMay. Anyway, I go to the campus bookstore, and I said, I got to find out more about this bodybuilding shit. I got to be one of these guys. And the only books they had were the Nautilus Bodybuilding book by Arthur Jones and the Nautilus Advanced Bodybuilding book by Ellington Darden, PhD, which had a cover of the cover was Boyer Coe doing the Nautilus preacher curl machine with those double split biceps that he had. And dopey me, I read those books and I was convinced, because Arthur Jones was very convincing, that Nautilus was the only legitimate type of training equipment. Barbells and dumbbells were for cavemen. They were shit. They wouldn't give you any results. So I found we had a free gym on campus with free weights. It was crappy, but it was free. And then there was a Nautilus room that you had to pay for. And I went and joined the Nautilus room. And actually for about 2 years, all I did was Nautilus stuff. But long story short, as far as the girls, it actually did help me. I would say the first, I don't know if you want to call her a girlfriend. She had a lot of boyfriends. She was an actress. She was in movies. But I met her on spring break in spring of 88 while I was visiting my buddy from the same hometown as me there was a house and she was one of the roommates. What? Anyway, I'm pretty sure the only reason we hooked up and kept hooking up for a few months was because of the physique. So it did help. But yeah, I'll just finish it out by how I got into this was, as far as the media end was, Mike talked about American Muscle Magazine on ESPN, and the younger people, you can look it up. There's some of it on YouTube. There's not a lot, unfortunately, but it was an hour-long show. It was on at the time when I started as an intern, and they hired me pretty quickly to work there. I started in January 91. At that time, the only other show on ESPN that had been on longer was SportsCenter. So it was a pretty long-running, very successful show. They had contest coverage, workouts, profiles, awesome, gossip, cooking. Like John Romano had a cooking segment.
Oh my God,
John Romano and I think it was pretty nuts. And I worked on that show. And you talk about being starstruck. The first few months when I worked on that show, I was going on all the video shoots, I should say. And within like 3 or 4 months, I met everybody there was to meet in the industry, all the top stars, because we shot. And the cool thing was the guy that owned the company, I think he's still alive, Lou Zwick. Yeah. He was this amazing talent scout. He would find these people before anyone knew who they were, like Levroni, like Dorian, Ronnie, Paul DeMeo, Matarazzo, on and on. Oh, I mean, you could go. Yeah, Branch was on the show when he was a teenager. Jay Cutler was on when he was a teenager. So I got to, the reason I know so many people now is because I met them when they were like kids, when nobody knew who they were yet. So I can say, I've known Jay Cutler since he was like 19. I've known Branch Warren since he was 18. I knew Ronnie when nobody knew Ronnie yet. I remember Ronnie, you were probably at the 95 Arnold, right, Mike?
Yes, I was.
So everybody used to train at that World Gym in Columbus. It was in a bank. Yeah.
Yes, the one downtown. That was actually a hugely gay gym. It was like 99% gay guys used to go there.
No way.
Yes, swear to God.
Oh, shit. So everybody was trained. That's where everybody would train when they were in town for the Arnold. I think there's other gyms now, obviously.
Yeah.
So I remember seeing this dude in the corners on the squat rack with like 6 plates, just boop, 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 like it was like a warm-up for him. And I walked over and I said, wow, dude, who are you? He's like, Ronnie Coleman from Texas. I said, you compete and everything? He's like, oh, yeah, I'm a pro. And I'm like, I didn't even know he was a pro because in 95, he still wasn't doing much. I think I'd heard the name, but I'm like, I think you're gonna be pretty good, Mr. Coleman.
Yeah.
And I think he started gear maybe a year after that.
He won 96. He won. That was a big year for him. He won the Toronto show, I believe, or one of the shows in Canada. He flexed in Canada, and the Flex did all those shows in '96. Ronnie was good. He ended up taking 6 at the Olympia, 6 after Nasser failed the drug test at the Olympia that year. But you didn't see him coming, Ron. But again, you were at his camp. Didn't you go to his camp and worked out with him at his house too? So that kind of came full circle.
Yeah, that was 05. It was 6 months before he won his last Olympia. So he was still in his prime. Nothing had gone downhill yet. But man, Ronnie's the coolest. Here's a good question. We can all start with you, John. When was the first time you watched Pumping Iron?
I was definitely in middle school, junior high school. So I had to be about 7th or 8th grade. So I had to be about 13 or 14 years old. Yeah. But I didn't even know, like, I remember watching it, and but it was like on cable. I didn't know what it was. And my father wasn't into bodybuilding, but Lou Ferrigno was from the same neighborhood in Brooklyn. But my father was Italian, so his favorite was Franco Colombo. And then I remember my father, and I remember saying that, seeing him work out in Bensonhurst, Lou Ferrigno was in Bensonhurst. I was like, yeah, but Dad, Lou Ferrigno's from Bensonhurst. He goes, yeah, but Lou Ferrigno was always number 2. Arnold was always number 1. And that was, so, but he liked Franco the best only because he was Italian. He knew nothing about bodybuilding, and yeah, that was, and I didn't even know, like, I only caught half of it because back then, if it was on cable, there was no,
yeah.
And then of course, I could go rent it because remember all those little VHS stores that were popping up. You could go rent them, before Blockbuster put everybody out of business.
Yeah.
And so I used to just, there was a video store called Palmer Video, and I would go rent it. And that was the first time that I watched it. And to be honest with you, like, I was more interested in Lou Ferrigno because he was just from the same neighborhood. We had recently moved from Bensonhurst to Staten Island. I was about 14. So I'm like, anytime they show Ferrigno, that was where I grew up,
Did you ever get to meet or know Lou?
I met Lou Ferrigno once at the Olympia in 2001, and I shook his hand like an idiot, forgot that he was deaf, and I shook his hand, and I was like, Lou, I'm from 19th Avenue and 61st Street. And he's like, yeah, he goes, autographs are $10 or whatever. That was the only time I ever, yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. That was the guy who did it for me was because then once I started looking into magazines, because to me, like, I know this is going to sound horrible, I was never impressed with the guys from the 70s because it was already the 90s, and the physiques already surpassed them so much,
right? And
it was already, Dorian was a beast, and then you had Flex and Sean Ray, and Sean Ray was the guy that really, I was like, oh yeah, just like you when you said, Ron, oh yeah, I want to look like that.
Yeah.
Like that. And I remember the picture. It was a picture of him. I don't remember what he was leaning up. He was leaning, I think he had jeans on, but no shirt. I think he was leaning up against a Ferrari. It was a famous picture. I remember that fucking picture. And that's what he had, the flat top going back then.
Yeah.
And he was the guy that really, and then, by then the late 90s came, then you had like Milos, and you had Lee Priest, and you had, Marcus Rule. And it was like, that's when I really started getting into it. By the time I got to my late teens, early 20s, that's when I really started getting into it. Those guys.
Mike Cox, first time you watched Pumping Iron?
It had to be because I remember seeing the ads in the magazines coming up, right? So And I didn't order one, but I remember we had a video store called Video News around the corner from my house. And I kept looking and looking. I finally found it. It had to be around 8th grade, 87. I found it. And it was like finding the Holy Grail, Ron. I was like, because you just heard about Arnold, and you kind of like had the Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding, that big book we had. But to see that, right, and to hear that song, and even now when you hear that theme song, right, you still get those feelings of watching him do the ballet, and then with Ken Waller. I was like, oh my God, there's Ken Waller, there's Robbie Robinson, just guys that we saw in the magazines, like early on, like kind of fade in the 80s. Robbie was kind of getting a little bit older. Kenny Waller was gone, but just to see those guys and just now later on, you kind of knew it was scripted, but at the time, you're like, he stole his t-shirt. He really stole his t-shirt. You know what I mean? And I was smoking pot. Holy shit, what's going on? It was just wild, man. So it's just like you hope every meathead has seen that. Like it's one of those things that you just have to see. Like
I always wish there was more workout footage in that movie. I always wish, because it was a lot, behind the scenes and so on and so forth. But I always wish there was more workout footage.
I bet there was, and it's just Arnold bought all the outtakes. He bought all the
hundreds of hours of footage left still.
But I thought they were eventually going to come out with some extended cut or something, and I never.
Because my favorite scene is when what's his name is squatting, and he
it's Ed Corney and Arnold.
Ed Corney squatting. That's my favorite scene, and then Ed Corney falls over. You know that
barefoot. I was like, oh my God, he's got
barefoot squats, dude.
Yeah,
deep like.
Oh yeah.
Ballistic squats.
Yeah, those guys train till they drop. Those guys train to a fault, like 5, 6, 7 hours a day. It was insane.
Yeah.
And then what's his name came around and changed the whole thing. Oh, what's his name? Mike.
Mentor, yeah.
Yeah, Mike Mentor said, "Nah, that's not how it works," and changed everything.
I don't think people really changed the volume and the frequency until Dorian.
Yeah, Dorian was the guy. That was when he came out with Blood and Guts. That was like I remember guys passing that video around in the gym.
Yes.
They would pass that video around, and they would pass there was a book, hold on, the Anabolic Reference Guide.
Oh yeah. I'd be pissed because someone would have that put son of a bitch for too long. You'd be waiting for it. But dude, that thing, it was like cover to cover. Yeah, it was like the holy grail. Like, holy shit, is that what they do?
Yeah,
it was. It was just so new. You know what I mean? It had a newness to it, right? It was just, and it was trial and error. We didn't have the internet. It was you had to like look at a big guy in the gym for advice. You know what I mean? He'd tell you what to eat, like what to take. So it wasn't laid out. We just had to learn our bodies and kind of figure out what to do. You know what I mean?
Isn't that crazy? Like, it's so funny that information is so readily available now. And they have no idea. The majority of people have no clue what they're doing in the gym.
Overcomplicate, bro.
And it's like
too much information. That's why
it's just it's like at your fingertips, And back then you either had the magazine, or you asked the guys in the gym. But here's what I think. I think the problem is the reason why it's like that. It's like you said, Ron, is way too much information. But the other thing is, there was only hardcore gyms back then, and the guys in those hardcore gyms were really serious about either bodybuilding or powerlifting.
Yeah.
So those guys taught you how to squat. They taught you how to deadlift. They taught you how to bench. They taught you how to spot, And now you go to a Retro, you go to LA Fitness, you go to a 24-hour or whatever, a Planet Fitness, and it's hard for the hardcore gyms to keep in business because how do you deal with $25 a month? It's impossible, right? So you're losing that whole, so you have to like sort out to go to like the closest gym to me that's a hardcore gym. I guess you could consider it a Signature, but it really Diamond Gym is the closest gym. Signature is a beautiful gym. It's just crazy expensive. I think it's like they want like $70, $75 a month.
Damn.
But Diamond is still like, old school, pay for the year, cash, boom. And then, it's still hardcore. Guys are still training hard in there and so on and so forth. And I think the Trends twins made it popular when they trained there again. And Luke, who's on my channel, yeah, who's pro. He trains there. Arns came out of that gym. Plenty of people came out of that gym. But I think that's really what's happening because like they don't even know how to spot. They can't even. They don't even know. It's unbelievable. And sometimes I try to help. Because I go to the gym right after work, so I'm there. I leave work at 3:00, so I'm in the gym between 3:30 and 4. So a lot of times it's a young crowd, like high school kids, college kids, and 95% of the time, if I help the young kids, they'll appreciate it. And the spotting thing blows me away because they'll literally be behind. There'll be a guy who'll be bench pressing, and the kid will be on his phone. And I'm like, what your friend's going to kill himself. What's the whole point of you working out with him? Wow. And I try to be nice about it, and I go, this is what you have to do, so on and so forth. I won't help any girls because I don't want to go through that Me Too shit.
Yep.
Yeah,
or the Joey Swole girl calling me a creep or anything like that.
Yep.
Very few times I will help a girl out, only if she's really about like gonna fucking kill herself. But other than that, like it just blows me away. Like then they want to put the cart before the horse.
Yeah.
All the time. Like they don't even have the basics down. And I remember doing stupid shit too, but but we didn't have phones, so that wasn't distracting. We had the guys in the gym, and the guys in the gym would help. But now you got phones. Everybody's got their earbuds in. If you don't have the earbuds, there's no energy. There's no energy in the gym anymore because nobody puts music on because everybody's got their earbuds in. Mm. And a lot of people are afraid to help because they either get roll of the eyes, or the girls will put you on blast, or the young kids will think they're better than they know everything. And nobody teaches anybody anything.
They never think of the internet. They think because it's on the internet, it's just practical. It's just you have to apply it, man. Like
what kills me when they take I could talk about this all day. When they take their shoes off and they don't even know how to squat yet. Like they don't. Do you know what I mean? It's like
Bumstead did it. It's monkey see, monkey do.
Right. It's like you guys are splitting hairs here. You don't even know how to train yet.
We're taking our shoes off. I don't know how to do a curl properly, but
or they're doing everything on an angle. You don't even know how to do a leg press yet, but they're doing it on the side. It's like whatever. It's just whatever. It is what it is. But that being said, there are young guys that like will appreciate when you show them. I would say like 90% of the young guys. I said, I very rarely will help a girl. And then if you're over 30 and you don't know what to do at this point, I'm sorry, you're on your own. I don't know what to tell you at this point. Like really, I just don't know. Oh, funny story, actually. This is a few years back, right? You know how January, everybody is like joining the gym?
Yep.
And it's just a mess, right? So there was this guy in the gym, and this is before COVID. This had to be 2018, 2019. And there was a New York sports club, and I used to go to. And there's a guy on the pec deck, and he doesn't know how to use it properly. He's standing up. He's not sitting down. He's kind of doing the pec deck. Like we're all wrong. He doesn't know what to do. He's got a dad bod. You could see he just started. And he's got his hand on the machine and he's breathing heavy. And I said to him, you want me to show you how to use that? And he goes, literally, just goes, no, I won't be here tomorrow. Don't worry. Man. I was like, all right, I got to respect his honesty.
Seriously. I got to wrap up the pumping iron thing. I'll real quick, the way I saw it, I was 9 years old. I was babysitting my niece. My sister she continued her partying ways, even though she had a child. She was a single mom. So anyway, I was at her apartment at like 11 or 12 at night. PBS, the local PBS station, had pumping iron on. And I watched it for maybe 20 minutes, and I'm like, what the fuck what are these guys?
Yeah.
So this is like the late 70s. I had seen wrestlers on TV. I watched wrestling the whole time I was a kid.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I saw big guys, and Hulk Hogan was a heel back then.
Oh God, yeah.
Superstar Billy Graham was a big dude.
Yeah.
Ivan Putski.
Yeah. Polish Power.
Jimmy Snuka.
Ken Patera was another guy.
Yeah. Yeah, but it didn't click in my mind. I said I still didn't really follow bodybuilding, but to wrap it up, I saw a post yesterday where Robbie Robinson, I don't know when the interview was, but he was quoted as saying that he was promised 50,000. All the bodybuilders in the film, he says, were promised $50,000 for their appearance. I'm thinking, Robbie was in that movie for literally 3 seconds. I think he holds a football and laughs. He doesn't have like one.
50 grand in back then's a lot of money too.
It's $330,000 today. I found out.
No,
So he's full of shit. He's full of shit. Full of shit. Yeah. But pumping iron, you're right. You look at the physiques now, they still hold up, and they don't hold up to the modern guys, but they're still way better than like the average knucklehead in the gym.
Right, of course.
Yeah. And they, again, that scene, John, that you said, that's the scene, the training scene that really it cemented for me that if I'm gonna ever do this, I need to train like that.
Everybody.
People have to understand, like they were the freaks of those times.
Yeah.
People always say, "Oh, I like the aesthetic bodies like back in the 70s." No, those were the freaks. Those were the freaks. Schwarzenegger was a freak. Serge Nubret, Lou Ferrigno. Those were the freaks. Nobody saw guys that size back then.
There weren't a lot of guys. There weren't. People like those guys. They were. It's just weird because we're so used to it now. Like it's nothing seeing a big dude. We see him all the time. But can you imagine seeing like Lou Ferrigno in 1975? Like that would just blow your mind.
Dude, it's like I used to train at I train at all different gyms because I get bored. I used to train at fuck was the name of it? I forgot the name of the gym, but Akeem Williams trained there. Oh. And it was last year. I can't remember the name of it. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Yeah. And it was like watching a building walk through the room. I mean, he's just this massive human being. And then when you have people that go, they don't know anything, and they'll meet me like, oh, are you pro? And I'm like, pro? What are you nuts? You gotta see what these guys look like. Yeah. You have no idea. I was like, I was literally standing behind Akeem Williams, maybe 3 feet behind him. I couldn't see anything in front of me. It was like an eclipse. It was unbelievable. Like they don't realize how massive these guys are.
When Ron would interview these guys, right? I'll be at the show, and I didn't want to be creepy, and Manny goes, "I'll be creepy," but you would just sit there and stare. Because you don't see quads that big. Pictures, like I always say, pictures don't do these guys justice. Like Hunter Labrada, when you were talking to him the one time, I was just looking at his calves, thinking, how is that humanly possible that your calves could be that big?
Yeah.
Right? And your dad's 5'2". You know what I mean? Like, how is that just it's weird seeing the reaction that people get from bodybuilders when they're not at the Tampa show. When the civilians interact with the regular people, it's like a circus because you got the freaked out women like looking all big and lean, and then the bodybuilders, the bikini. It's just, but like I said, it's just something that I couldn't imagine not be a part of. Right? Even though we're old, man, we're just still that meathead doesn't die.
No, definitely not. No,
I'll throw this one to you, and John, you go first. Who was the biggest, most impressive bodybuilder you ever saw in person?
In person?
Yeah.
Well, besides Akeem Williams, I have to say Marcus Rule.
Okay. Yeah.
I saw Marcus Rule in person at the 2002 Olympia, I think it was.
Yeah.
And he was a fan favorite. And I remember, right? It was like I was there with my friends, and we weren't competing or anything like that. So we'd go to the buffet, and he was there, I guess, with his trainer. And it was like the day before the show, and he's eating. You could see the misery on his face. And I was at the table right next to him, and we're just eating. Like, this is when Vegas had all different buffets and stuff. Yeah. And we're just chowing down, and he's just staring at us like he wanted to kill us. Right. And I remember this guy tried to ask him for an autograph, and he was like really irritable, and like at the time I thought he was like, oh, this guy's a dick. And then once I competed, I was like, oh, I remember now. I know what he's going through. And what's funny is right after the show, I think he came in, I don't remember, 5th or 6th or something like that, and people were booing because they thought he deserved higher and whatnot. Right after the show, he was playing blackjack in the casino, and I went over to him, and then he was happy and talking to me and so on and so forth, and shook my hand, and it was like a different person. But yeah, Marcus Rule, or people don't realize how big Akeem is in person. Akeem, he has some structure issues, but as a mass monster, he is massive, just a massive human being. So I would say it was probably those two guys. I never met Ronnie in his prime. I met Mike Matarazzo in his prime, but no, compared to Rule and Akeem, those guys were massive.
Before we go to you, Mike, I can answer the question. The thumbnail, yes. That black. So in the thumbnail, I did like a before and after of me for the YouTube thumbnail. And the before is, it was like a week after high school graduation. I had a brand new black Mustang because my dad had passed away the year before, and we had a little bit of money, and my mom bought me a car, which I totaled a week after the picture, drunk off my ass with four friends in the car going 80 miles an hour on a wet street, took a turn, hit one light pole and broke that light pole, went across a parking lot, and those cement things that keep the cars from rolling, my car smashed two of those, and then I hit another light pole. The car was bent like this. And when the cops got there, they couldn't believe we were all intact.
Yeah. What year Mustang was that?
87.
Was it a GT?
No, it was a shitty LX with a 2.3 liter engine.
That is my all-time, even till to this day, my all-time favorite car. All-time favorite, even till this day, the Fox body Mustang GT. And I've had, now that I have, making some money, and I had Vets and I had Chargers, but I swear to God, I am going to get myself a Shelby or a Saline. It is going to happen. Mustangs are just, American Muscle is just my favorite. So I'm actually jealous that you actually had that car.
They fixed, it was in the body shop all summer long. There was clearly, they were not in a rush to fix it.
Yeah.
And it was never the same again. The guy didn't know what he was doing. The transmission went twice on it.
Oh, God.
Within the first 2 years I owned it. It was, anyway, long story. But Mike, the biggest guy you ever saw in person.
Okay, so I'll be quick. There's two people that just I'm speechless. First, it was in 1994 Olympia. I was going to buy some pictures at intermission. Laura Koval was at the table, and next to her was Victor Richards. He had on those purple hot skins tights, right? He was sitting there at a table, kind of like this. And I just stopped. I just stopped in my tracks, because if Sasquatch isn't real, right? But if Sasquatch was real, I swear to God, if you took a balloon and blew it up, it looked like that's what was in his calves.
Yeah.
Now, all those things about him eating 20,000 calories, I don't really know about any of that. But to fuel that man, that's that size, it was just, and people, oh, Victor, he was dumb big. And the second person was in 1998. It was 6 weeks before the Mr. Olympia. Cormier and Paul DeLette guest posed at the Mr. Ohio. Cormier looked like he hadn't started dieting yet, right? Paul DeLette rocked out. And the way he looked at that 98 Mr. Ohio, if he would have showed up to the Olympia like that, he would have been second place to Ronnie.
Wow.
He was 295, shredded. He was like a half a diazide away from being peeled. It was shocking how good he looked. He posed, I swear to you, for about 75 seconds. And he looked like he was going to pass out. He walked out and never came back. But those 75 seconds, man, Paul was so, it was just ungodly that was that big with the waist like that and the quads and calves. Like, if he just had a back and could pose, he would have destroyed everybody. Like, it's just, and people never saw him in person. It was something like I can't even describe.
Is it true? Because I've always heard he worked out real light, high volume. Is that true?
Ron, you ever see him out there?
I did. He didn't train as heavy as I think he could have. He never pushed himself like the way Ronnie did, but he wasn't a weak guy. I mean, shoulder machines, he would put like 4 plates and do like 20 reps.
Yeah.
I'm sure he could have done like 5 or 6 plates.
High volume for him. Right. Yeah. Okay.
No, I saw him train maybe 3 or 4 times in person. He didn't train light, but he certainly didn't push himself with anything that was going to risk injury. He didn't need to.
No. No. Why?
That guy's shoulders, I remember he was doing laterals, 40s, 45s, which that's a pretty decent weight for laterals.
Yeah.
People expect him to do hundreds like Branch and Johnny, but he would pump up. He would, like, as big as he was, he would get so much bigger as he worked out. It was ridiculous.
And Ron, you've seen God knows everybody. Like, who was the most impressive you saw?
Well, welcome. I got to acknowledge Women's Physique Olympia champion, Natalia Coelho.
Oh, hi, Natalia. How are you?
Yeah.
Bon dia, bon dia. Well, that's good day. I don't know how to say good evening, but thanks for stopping by. I have a Victor. So Victor Richards was one of my two guys too. And I don't say I was his training partner. I was not, but he was at my gym in Pasadena for about 6 months. I don't know why he was in that area. Maybe it was a girl or something. I don't know. Because normally he was up by like Northridge area. So he went to this gym. It was a world gym in Pasadena. And he wouldn't ask me to spot him when he wanted. He would tell me to spot him. He'd go, "You spot me." I'm like, all right. So I go over. And he never needed a spot.
Yeah.
Our dumbbells, it was always on chest day. He never asked me to spot him on anything else. I actually never saw him train legs, now that I think of it. Maybe he went to a different gym for that. But he was mad because our dumbbells only went up to 150. He could rep those out for like 20 and he'd still look like he still had another 10 or 12 reps in the tank. But he'd have me like stand there and like a goof and I'd say, "Okay, great set," and walk away.
My ego would get so in the way. It's a good thing I could, if you balk orders at me, I'd be like, "Who is this motherfucker?" It gets to the point where you're like, "I don't care how big you are, you balk orders at me, mother." I would be nobody's friend. Unbelievable.
Whose accent are you making fun of, Zionic? John's or my theoretical Boston accent? Cockies. We say cockies.
Cockies.
We say scissors instead of scissors.
Yeah, no.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
No, yeah, in New York, it's in Boston, it's car. In New York, it's car.
Cool.
Yeah, it's really strange. Car.
Yeah.
In your very, very strong New York accent, John.
What?
Shut the fuck up.
No, I never do that. What's so funny is what's funny is I make fun of guys like that have really worse accents than me. Yeah. So if I said shut the fuck up, like literally be like, "Would you shut the fuck up?" Like it's not a really like, it's not.
It's gotta come from the heart.
Yeah. So a shut the fuck up to me would be, "Would you shut the fuck up?" Like being annoyed, right? I don't do the whole to me. That's like my oldest brother. My oldest brother is that one of those guys. He's my oldest brother he's got a guy for everything. I got a guy. You got a guy. You got to go to the guy I go to. You got to, "Oh, you paid too much. How much did you pay?" "Oh, you got robbed." He's one of those guys, which is why we have a limited relationship because it can only take so much of that.
So, I'll finish with this. The biggest guy I ever saw. I saw Nasser at his biggest. He was huge, Ronnie. But the biggest, not the best, but the biggest was Greg Kovacs.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Yeah. I never met any of these guys.
He had a gym for, I think it was like a Muscle Tech was shooting footage or something. He had a gut out. He had like a 60-inch waist, easy, maybe 70. He had a gut like you wouldn't believe. But
yeah,
he was like, he had to be almost 400 pounds at the time. Arms were like 25, 26 inches, no definition, just big blobs.
Yeah.
But the mass, he was as big as because I've stood next to some of these strongman guys like Brian Shaw.
Yeah.
They're obviously they're taller. They're like 6'6", 6'8". Kovacs was about, I want to say 6'2", you think, Mike?
Yeah, about 6'1", 6'2". He was a tall guy.
Yeah, but he was huge.
I heard he was crazy strong.
He was.
I've heard, I think Palumbo was saying that he used to do behind the neck presses with 4 plates.
Yeah, he was at the Expo, the Arnold Expo a few times, but the Expo he would have fans next to him, blowing fans because he was so hot. But it was like, I'm not being rude, but like not Jabba the Hutt, but he was just a big blob of stuff.
Yeah, he died young too, right? How old was he?
Well,
40.
Yeah, he's about his 40. Him, guys like Art Atwood too. Art Atwood was a big guy too, man. He was humongous.
Oh yeah, that's right, Art Atwood. Yeah, I forgot about him.
Huge, man. Those guys. It was just, I don't know, Ron. It's just that period in that 90s. It just seems late 90s things kind of got like wonky. Like
it did. It got crazy. It got into I would say all the way into like the 2010s, and he's the stomachs got blown out, and everybody was trying to be mass monsters, and then and then it kind of finally got a lot more streamlined.
It
now.
went like this, and it got all fucked up. It kind of came back down to like normal now.
Yeah, absolutely. They really did, and what's funny is I used to think that was cool. Like if I remember going to the Olympia and seeing Craig Titus, he wasn't competing, but he was sitting there and his stomach was so big, it was on his lap, and I used to think, that's what it takes to get big. That's what you got to do. And I used to do that. I used to eat so much and it never fucking worked for me. It's unbelievable.
It's like cookies and like and Celtec.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
I had actually met Kovacs when he was much younger. I told you Lose Wick in that American Muscle show. He used to fly when we were covering a local contest like the LA or the Palm Springs or whatever. He would fly people in from sometimes other countries and use somebody's address here somewhere in the US so they could get an NPC card and pretend that they were an American citizen and compete in NPC shows. So he did that with Kovacs. I want to say it was like 92 or 90, 91, 92. It was way back. He was probably in his early 20s. And he had a much better physique then. He wasn't anywhere near as big, but he didn't have a gut. You know, it wasn't an aesthetically pleasing physique, but he was much, much better physique-wise when he was younger and probably competing more like 250 instead of 300, 350, whatever the hell he was.
Hey, Ron, let me ask you a quick question.
Yeah.
How many ghost-written articles did you do at per month at your most?
Ooh, so, well, ghostwriting, if you want, ghostwriting is when, to me, ghostwriting is when you don't even talk to the person.
Right.
I don't know. Do you guys have different definitions of it?
I don't even know what the hell it is.
It's like rap. It's like when you ghostwrite for a rap song, right? It's like kind of like the same thing, right?
Okay. So at my peak, before I did more writing for MD in terms of articles per month before I got the full-time job in 2017, because I started doing columns, those Q&A columns.
Mm-hmm.
Those were, I guess, what you call ghostwriting, because
I
would call up Craig Titus or whoever, Branch Warren, Dennis Wolf. I would come up with some questions for them, and I'd ask them what was going on in their life, and I would write up the article, and the article would say, by Branch Warren, by Dennis Wolf. I wrote it, but it was their words. It wasn't. But because if you tell these guys, we're going to pay you, and part of your contract is you have to write a column every month, they're not going to do it. They're not going to write it. They're not. If they do, it's going to be like 3 weeks late, and that doesn't work in the magazine world because you have deadlines.
Yeah.
But at my peak, Mike, I can remember doing like 20 of those a month. Because you remember MD when it was like that thick?
Yeah, I used to love that.
Pages.
Dude, he used to have, at any given moment, he had 20 to 30 people under contract. Paying money out the ass to these people.
What's if you don't mind me asking, I don't know if you know, what's he doing with himself now?
No idea. No idea.
Yeah.
I haven't spoken to Steve since November of 2023.
I'm sure he's not hurting. You know.
And there have been offers to buy. He had a couple offers to buy the brand. But I guess they weren't to his liking because somebody could take that. The YouTube channel is still there.
You can do good stuff with that nowadays in this digital age with MD relaunch.
Yeah, with somebody, someone with vision, somebody with a little bit of money and creativity. And people say, "Why don't you buy it?" Because I don't have. He turned down, from what I heard, $1 million offer.
No shit.
I don't have more than. I mean, when you think about the whole brand,
it's a lot.
Magazine would have to be digital. Obviously, you can't print magazines. Print magazine had to have been losing money like the last at least 5 years that it was being printed.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. It hung on though, bro. Like it hung on for a long time though.
I think the last time I got a magazine delivered was like 2014 or 2015. Like that was it. And that was the last time.
Yeah, but it was. I enjoyed it when it was at its peak. I still enjoyed doing. I didn't want that job. It was just I didn't want to do the editing and all that. I didn't want to. I was very happy being a freelancer, and I could still write for other magazines because there were times when I was writing for like 5, 6, 7 different magazines a month.
Yeah.
And no restrictions. Like no one said, "Hey, you can't write for them."
Yeah.
But once I became the online editor and the senior writer, Steve really did not want me writing for anyone else, and I understood. He was paying me good money to be exclusive, so I never did. But yeah, I would say that time when I was doing like 20 a month, I was freelancing, and the money was just.
Dude, that's a lot of work.
It was nuts. I mean, that's when I was making the best money in my life. So far I should be making more now. I'm old, but no.
Ron, I want to say this before I go because unfortunately I got to go live in a few minutes on my channel. But one thing I just want to tell you this, Ron.
Yeah.
I've been involved somehow, some way in bodybuilding, but mostly with the YouTube channel for the last several years, and I've met a bunch of different people, and I'm not blowing smoke up your ass, man. You're one of the better guys in the industry.
Thank you.
We're not, and I'm not. You really are. You're one of the better dudes. There's a lot of shitheads They really are.
It is.
I'm not going to name names, but there's a lot. I would say most of them are shitheads. But you're definitely you're definitely one of the better guys, man. And I just always I always admired you, and I always appreciate you and me staying in touch, man.
Appreciate you coming on.
Anytime.
All right, well, I'll let you go. You got to do your thing. So join him over at the Serious and Silliness podcast.
Serious and Silliness Bodybuilding.
Serious and Silliness. I'll get it right one of these days.
It's all right.
One of these days. I work better with name tags and stuff like that. So check it out.
It's been an honor. Thank you. And call me anytime you want me on, man. I'll come on. No problem.
Yeah, I love your show, bro, man. You're hilarious.
Thank you. Nice meeting you, brother.
You too, bro.
All right.
All right, just you and me, Mike. Let's see.
Got this shit, bro.
Let's see. Last question. Time to get Ital. Just what? I don't even know.
Gelato is a strain of American cannabis. It's I believe a hybrid strain. I should know that, but I do.
You're in Florida. Cannabis is still not legal recreationally?
It's recreational, and I have caps on how much I can get over a 70-day period. So I have to kind of finagle and balance it out so I don't run out of my recs. So it sucks. This is when they are.
Well, so you do have it is legally recreational.
It failed it's medical. It failed recreation. It had 57%, but it needed 60%. But we go drink and drive and smoke cigarettes and all that other shit. So, but don't get me started on that.
It's totally legal here in Massachusetts.
I know.
Totally legal.
Sometimes when I'm sitting there, I would do Google dispensaries, Boston, and I just drool on my computer.
I've been in areas around where there are like 3 dispensaries on the same block. I don't even know how they all make money, honestly.
There's about 4 within 3 miles. One of them I've never been to because the prices are too long. I've got like my 3 that I go to. They love me.
Meathead, yeah. This is they stole the Thrasher logo when they did this. This is Thrasher magazine for skateboarders. This was a guy he was part of Redcon, but he had his own separate. What the heck was Rudy? Rudy had his own separate clothing line. Anyway,
very nice.
88 Mustang hatchback Cobra. Yeah, that's a nice car.
Dude, I had my first car was an 87 Renault Alliance.
Renault.
I couldn't go over 60 miles an hour. And I was driving to high school one day with me and our friend. A dude like almost T-boned us. We spun like a 360. And of course, we don't wear seatbelts. No, we didn't wear seatbelts back then. Yeah. Like my friend ended up on my lap. Luckily, dude, like if we would have been a little bit further, he would probably killed us. But when you're that age, you just do stupid shit. And you drive fast. You don't give a shit. We were drinking and driving, man. Going to basketball games in the snow, drunk as shit. What the fuck, man?
I guess this will be our last question. Who's winning the Arnold? We're going to be doing more Arnold previews, obviously, but
Ron, I thought about this, and there's some issues with Hottie in his country. I've heard there's some stuff going on over there. So I don't know how that's going to affect him. I'm going to go out and number some round. I'm going to say Andrew Jack is going to win with Nick in second and Martin in third. Hottie fourth. Wow. I'm going to go Brandon Curry in fifth.
Wow. Okay. No, that could very well happen. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what's going on with Iran, but if he's able to get here early again, like he usually does to Olympia, maybe it won't be any problems. But he's obviously on paper the favorite.
Dude.
He's the only Olympia. Well, no, there's 2 Olympia. Brandon Curry's on Mr. Olympia as well, but Hottie more recently. So he's an Olympia champ. He took a very close second at this last Olympia. Andrew was a very, very solid third. So to me, it's going to be one of those 2. I'm not writing off Nick or Martin saying, no, they can't win. We've seen so many crazy results over the years. I never say, unless like Kenny Jones was competing, I would say, no, Kenny can't win the Arnold. But
we didn't think Derek was going to. Nobody thought Derek was going to win the Arnold. Derek was like third place. People wrote Derek off like his career was over with, right?
Yep.
He wins, okay, but so you can't say that because the check was written for Samson. We all wrote that check for Samson, mailed to the UK.
Yep.
So as much as I think Andrew, he's the hot name, dude, Hottie's track record. If you think what Hottie's done since 2019, he could have been Mr. Olympia every one of those years. Like he literally could have been Mr. Olympia. So, and I think when we look about like past competitors, Ron, and you look at the track record, you can't appreciate what they do now.
Right.
Probably when Heidi's retired 5 years, to look back and go, God damn, like look what this man did, right? Like look at Phil and Branch and what those guys did. You can't appreciate them now. But I don't know. It's going to be 8 weeks out. The mayor he texts me every morning because I'm up as early as he is. We have Arnold talk.
You're going to the Arnold, right?
No, sir. That's Ohio in the cold weather. I'm too old for cold weather, bro.
That's what's keeping you away is the climate.
The climate. I'm trying to go back in June to see the family, June or July. So I want to go back 2 trips, see them up north. And we do Tampa. We do Tampa every year, but Tampa, Ron, is almost expensive as the Olympia. The ticket price. Well, we do everything. Like that's our one splurge. So we do everything. Women, men's physique. So it comes close to what the Olympia tickets are. Yeah, for VIP. But like I love this shit, dude. And I don't go that often. So, and I want to be up close to give you proper reporting to let you know the real deal. So all these guys don't say, "Oh, your so sucks."
It's not the Olympia, but it's always a really good lineup. The Tampa show.
It's a good lineup. It's competitive. They do knock it out fast. I will say that because you got that NBC show afterwards.
Yeah.
So we're out. The sun's up when we're done.
I love that. Don't you love that?
Bro, we can eat. We're always able to go get some food. You know what I mean? Except where Manny takes us to like some crappy, scary, sketchy place in Tampa somewhere.
No, but that's the tough part about a lot of shows that let out late is like, oh no, everything's closed.
Well, think about it, dude. Like Fit Model's coming. So that adds another element in time to these shows. Right?
It's another like hour and a half to the day, pretty much.
Yeah. And it's gonna be huge. Listen, those numbers are gonna be humongous for that division, bro. Like Sean Carla is gonna be Fit Model Olympia winner.
Well, she coaches a ton of them.
I know.
We got into it on IG one time because I think the only people who really love Fit Model are obviously the NPC organization, the promoters. They love it because that's, hey, if it was more money in my pocket, I would love it too. I'm not gonna sit here and be on my high horse, but the coaches who coach them and the promoters, they're the ones who are really benefiting from it. Everyone else is sitting through something that's less than bikini.
Yeah.
So,
if you think about the structure of how it is, it's not a Ponzi scheme, but it is kind of marketing where you have coaches make all this money, new divisions, they get their friends involved. It's great. It's free enterprise. It's great. Make all the money you want, but I would never have thought that you have a posing coach, a prep coach. It's evolved so much, and I can only imagine in like 5 years, dude, like what's coming.
Well, I think male Fit Model's coming.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Yeah,
I mean,
I predicted that, but I haven't seen the video from Tyler yet, but I'm waiting.
men's physique guys are huge, bro.
Oh, we got the whole story about your cannabis laws in Florida.
Austin, I regret about that.
Going to be Ron DeSantis. I love the name Ron. Misused taxpayer money in order to pump out vote no on recreational marriage. You guys had commercials to vote no.
Yeah.
Oh,
he did that. Have you heard of the Sheriff Grady Judd? He's like the wacko sheriff out here that like Roscoe P. Coltrane. He's like that guy, right? But they had commercials, man, like saying he goes, the whole state's gonna smell like marijuana. I'm thinking, like he goes, when we go on calls, the domestic is marijuana. I'm thinking it's alcohol and meth. Like you gonna smoke some weed, I ain't gonna fight with nobody.
I agree, but he is right though, because it's legal here, and I do smell it. People are driving smoking constantly. Cars go by, and I can smell that. I have that nose for like a dog, like a shark can smell blood a mile in the water. I can smell weed from like a block away.
Yeah, me too.
I said that car in front of us, they're smoking. I can tell. It's crazy.
It's probably me. We don't know. We don't do that just around the neighborhood. Sometimes take a road trip, but yeah, I mean, I get it. Like I'm aware of like kids, right? I would never want to do that around kids. No matter what. That's my thing. Like there's a time and place for it. Like if I don't smoke that much anymore, it's more like the RSO. But if I do, it's out in front of my porch, but I'm not like at a football game or a park, you know what I mean, doing it. It just, I think a lot of that too is young kids that don't think, and like those 20-something-year-olds that kind of just don't give a shit.
Yeah,
they ruin it for like the 50-year-olds that are mature and wise and know how to use it properly, and not like just sitting there just being stupid, right? So I mean, I get both points, but
well, you're exactly right, because we have a park about half a mile that way, and there's a basketball court, and when the weather's warm, there's tons of kids down there, and you can smell the weed from like a block away, and they park and they're smoking in their cars and they're outside smoking. It's not, you still can't legally smoke like out in the open. It's not.
And that's my thing too. Like, even like with bodybuilding now and the gear talk, I've always thought like legally, right? Like, I don't ever want to go to prison. Like that scares me, Ron. Like, I watch a lot of prison stuff, and like, you got to sit down and pee sometimes because it's sanitary, and I don't want to sit down and pee, bro. So I've always thought, even in my stupidity, to be one step ahead of the police. And I'm not going to sit and go smoke in my car, right, where a cop could roll up on me, when I can just do the same thing in my house. Like, the party can wait. Like, sometimes you go, in the parking garage, whatever, but you can't make a habit of it. People, it's just, you deal with a lot of stupidity in the world these days. And as you age, you see stupidness all the time. And man, he goes, why don't you ever leave? I'm like, because people are dumb. I don't want to. That's why.
I'm going to leave you with one last thing. I'm going to dinner Saturday night with Lee Haney and Linda Murray.
Swear to God.
Swear to God. It's through a guy. I train a guy named Jim, and him and his wife, they're friends with Linda and Lee, and they're doing a seminar. John Hansen's going to be there too.
What?
Here in Massachusetts, they're going to be here Saturday, and they invited me and Christian, my son's, coming with me too. So
no shit. Tell Christian to appreciate this shit.
Oh, he better, because he's met Jay and he's met Ronnie, but he's gonna have 16 Olympia titles in one night. This kid's gonna meet. So
dude, please take pictures, Ron, and like keep me posted.
Of course I'm gonna be like,
oh, dude, that is so awesome.
Oh, shit. Well, I'll let you know how that goes.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna wrap it up. Appreciate you as always, Ken Jones, aka Big Mike Cox, originally from Cleveland, which is one of the most dangerous cities in the United States, by the way.
Be safe, son.
But he's in Florida now. It's all good.
Yes,
and appreciate John, who joined us. He's gone now. He had to do he's over at his own podcast. So that's it, guys. Next week we'll be here, same bat time, same bat channel on the Meathead Podcast. Appreciate y'all watching, and we will see you next time.
Hey.